Ja, nu vidare i programmet. Långa inkast är sannoliken en vattendelare inom fotbollen. Vissa älskar dem, många hatar dem. Vi kan konstatera att fenomenet är en trend inom svensk fotboll just nu och flera använder sig av inkast i offensiven. Och en person som kan det mesta om inkast är vår nästa gäst. Han har erhållit Guinness världsrekord för världens längsta inkast. Han har under flera år jobbat som inkastspecialist i Liverpool. Han vet alltså allt om hur man kastar långt, kort, snabbt och klokt. Vi byter språk. Welcome to Fotbollsmorgon, Thomas Gronemark.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine.
Nice. We're curious just to start this interview. Tell us about the passion for throw-ins that you have, or how it started.
You've been a throwing coach for 20 years, and I'm coming from Denmark, and I have a background in elite youth football. Then I was on the Danish athletics national team as a sprinter for 6 years, and then I was a part of the Danish bobsleigh team, national bobsleigh team, for 4 years. So it was in the middle of that bobsleigh period in 2004 where we played a warm-up football game against the German bobsleigh team because we had a cooperation with them. And then suddenly I took a long throw in there in that warm-up football match, and then they all thought, wow, how can you throw so far? Then I thought, if I can throw far, can't I teach football players to throw better? So I actually started with my very first professional club in October 2004, Viborg, a Super League club in Denmark. And then I coached Danish professional clubs for many years, and then I got my international breakthrough when Jürgen Klopp called me in July 2018. So that was the really short story about my job. Yeah.
It all started with a bobsleigh warm-up.
Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, you know, that's the way in life, you know. Things are often created in special ways. Not when we want to create it, but when things just happening. So, yeah.
Yeah. How many professional clubs are using you right now? And your knowledge?
You can say during a season, I'm normally helping 8-10 different clubs, and they are not. At the moment, I already coached 5 clubs this season, so that's pretty many. Like Brentford FC, Kawasaki Frontale, FC Midtjylland, and other clubs. A club in Spain too, and so that's secret at the moment. But often clubs are coming to me during the season. For example, last season, Dortmund, they contacted me and tried to ask me for help about the throw-ins, and they were like in a little bit of a crisis there in the club. But it was before PSV, and I was there in March, so that's quite late in the season. So it went really well, and yeah, it could have been ending with a fairy tale in the Champions League final, but like you all know, we lost to Real Madrid. So again, back to your question, normally 8 to 10 clubs per season, and yeah, and it's all around the world. Yeah.
This is very interesting. How did you manage to study the art of throw-ins? Like, how much are you into biomechanics and all that?
I couldn't study anything because there are no books about it. I couldn't read anything. There was nothing serious on the internet. So everything I've done myself. And it's really important for me to say that I'm not only coaching the throw. Actually, that's just a small part of it, even though most of my players improve 5 to 10 meters and some up to 15 meters. But it's even more about the space creation between the players. So you can create different types of space that means that you can either keep the ball, you can create a chance to score a goal after throwing. So it's all those things that matters even more. And of course, also taking the ball from the opponents when they have a throw in. But I haven't taken even 1 minute of football education. So a lot of jobs put up on the media. They are. You need to have a lot of education, and so I actually couldn't get any jobs in the football world. But now I've been working for 40 clubs. I've been part of 15 titles. But all my knowledge I got that from for example, basketball. You know, I've been visiting last year Boston Celtics basketball team, their training facility in Boston. I've been taking knowledge from the Roman army, from birds in nature, things like that. So I'm using science and knowledge in a very different way. And yeah, so yes, of course you have to take knowledge. Of course, I see a lot of football games. Of course, I take knowledge from football, but you often can take knowledge from many different places to create innovation in a place like I've been a part of with the football throw-ins.
And you were a part of Liverpool's coaching staff with Jurgen Klopp as well. Tell us about that, and what are the most important things that you teach when you work with throw-ins in the clubs that you work for? What are the main aspects that you want to teach or talk about?
Yeah, you can say it's depending on the playing style. For example, yes, like I mentioned before, I teach the long throw-ins, and again, most of my players improve 5 to 10 meters only with a better technique, some even up to 15 meters. I have many clubs who are scoring a lot of long throwing goals. For example, the last 4 seasons from 15 to 18, FC Midtjylland scored 35 goals on long throw-ins. Now I just started in FC Midtjylland again, like playing the Champions League qualification at the moment. For example, also Brentford, I've been there for 5 years. Last season in the Premier League, they were the most successful team from throw-ins in the last third. And those 2 clubs, they're doing a lot of long throw-ins. But for example, in a lot of my clubs, let's say Ajax, Liverpool, Dortmund, Kawasaki, where I was like 2-3 weeks ago, it's more the fast and clever throw-ins. And here it's more about space creation. How can the players create space together in many different ways? Because a lot of football players, they're either standing still or they're only doing individual space creation. And individual space creation means that a single player is just running back and forth to create space for himself. And with that kind of space creation, you can only maybe create 1 or 2 meters. And yes, that can work once in a while. So before I come into a club, I look at the playing style. Of course, I talk with the clubs. I see some videos and then I tailor-made the throwing coaching for the specific club. So yes, again, in Liverpool FC, we didn't use the long throw-in as a set-piece weapon, but I moved, of course, together with the players and the coaches, I moved Liverpool from number 18 in the Premier League on throw-ins under pressure to number 1, going from a possession on 45.4%, third last in the 17-18 season, to 68.4% in the 2018-19 season, so going to number 1. So again, back to your question, the content, the focus in every club is depending on the playing style and what I agree with the coaches. But I'll just say that most of my clubs, they're either winning titles or they are getting promotions if they're coming from a lower league, or they're punching above their weight, performing much better than the economy. So I have a lot of clubs who did that. And why is that? Of course, it's not only about me and my throwing coaching, but it's because there are normally 40 to 60 throw-ins in a match. Yeah. And can you go from either really bad, or medium to good or really good? It makes a gigantic difference in a game. And also remember, when the opponents have a throw-in, that's just as important. And then it's not so important, again, if it's a club who's focusing on the long ones or the fast and clever, or a bit of everything. So I know this was a little bit of a long answer to your question. Sorry about that. But it's really individual focus in every club, yeah.
You answer 5 of my question.
Yeah, me as well, basically. I have one more question, or maybe 2. Are you located in Denmark, and then you get, because you were telling us you have like 4 or 5 clubs you're working with, do you go there for like 2 or 3 weeks of like consulting, or are you there longer than that?
Yeah, I'm normally going there and then coaching 2 or 3 training days. So I'm only going there for like 4 or 5 days if you're also counting the traveling days. So I'm away from Denmark 20-25 weeks per year. So I'm not there for a long time in every club. It's only like again 2-3 training days, and then I'm normally coaching 30 to 45 minutes. Of course, I can also easily coach a whole session. I also do that sometimes. So the clubs can also do many other types of football coaching when I'm there. So I'm traveling based from Denmark, and normally when I'm coaching a club, it's not every week I'm there. If I have a seasonal contract, it's normally like 3 or 4 visits. But I'm always starting with what I call an inspirational visit to a club to inspire them to improve their throw-ins. And in some clubs, I'm only there one time, but a lot of clubs I'm there not only a full season, but also 3, 4, 5 years. So yeah.
You mentioned that it's in average 60 throw-ins in every game. Should coaches put more time on throw-ins in general?
Yeah, first of all, normally it's like 40 to 60, so it can be a little bit different. Of course, depending on the weather, on the pressure, things like that with throw-ins. Yes, of course, they should focus on it the whole year. Imagine 40 to 60 throw-ins. You're using approximately 20 minutes on throw-in situations in a game. Should you focus on that? Yes, it will be totally stupid not to focus on that. You should focus on that the whole week, not necessarily every day. And then some people think, wow, throw-ins, are you crazy? But that's because people think that throw-ins, that's just like throwing the ball. No, it's about space creation, understanding of space, different options. And you don't have to say, now we're doing throwing coaching. No, let's just imagine that you are playing a 5 versus 5 interval drill. That's not just a normal football exercise here. Then you can also make it a throw-in drill just by saying to the players before we start, hey, remember to make the space big if you can't throw it fast. Remember if there's space on the other side. Remember to use big boxes side pass or the 9-box striker shot, things like that. You can say that in 15 seconds if the players know what to do. And then you have suddenly been focusing on throw-ins too. So yes, back to your question, you should focus on that every week, because I also say to the clubs, to the coaches, to the people who says that, do you also focus on passing the whole year, or do you only do that in the preseason? And then they say, yes, of course we do that every week. And it should be the same with the throw-ins, especially because it happens so many times in a match. So yeah.
And you have the world record for the longest throw-in, 51 meter. What would you say, do you believe that every club should have a player that can throw long throw-ins, so you can actually have it almost as a corner?
Yes, first of all, I'll say my record was beaten in 2019, but I had the record for almost 10 years. But no, it doesn't matter. I set the world record in 2010.
Yeah.
Yes, all clubs should have several players who can throw far, and it's not because what people think. Yes, if you are in a club who wants to take long throw-ins, it's okay towards the opponent's goal. But long throw-ins are important by many other reasons. First of all, if you can throw long, you can do much better counter-attack throw-ins, because you can't be offside in a throw-in, throw behind the defense also from the middle of the pitch. And so the other thing is that the longer throw-in you have, the greater throwing area you'll have too. So if you can throw far, you can throw to more players on the pitch. For example, when I came to Liverpool, Andy Robertson could only throw 19 meters and 80. And it meant that every time Liverpool had a throw-in the left side of the pitch, he had a really small throwing area. So every time the opponents could put Liverpool under pressure. So Andy Robertson, with my training, improved to 27 meters. And even though he'll never be one of the best in the world with the long throw-in, he improved his throwing area 180 degrees with more than 500 square meters. So no matter if you're doing long throw-ins towards the opponent's goals or not, it's really important that your players, especially the fullbacks or the wingbacks, depending on your system, can throw as far as possible. But it's also really important for me to say that a lot of people are thinking, wow, let's take long throw-ins. No, I see so many teams taking bad long throw-ins. So yes, of course, it's not me to decide if you take long throw-ins or not, but I just see so many teams who are taking short long throw-ins. So it means that the throw-in taker can't throw far enough. And in my opinion, if you should take long throw-ins, your throwers should be able to throw at least to the first post in the air. I see some teams who are having long throwers who can only throw 2-3 meters from the small box, And then, yes, of course, you can be lucky to score on the long throw in there, but it doesn't mean you have to, because if you don't have a world-class long throwing taker, you should instead do other kinds of space creation, for example, like I've been doing with many of my other teams, because either they can't or they won't, and it's most because they won't because of the playing style. So no, you shouldn't do long throw-ins. If you ask me, if you don't have world-class long throw-in takers. So I also see a lot of, sorry for my language, shitty long throw-ins out there in the world. Just because you think, wow, a long throw-in, that's fantastic. No, sometimes it's really bad to do it. So again, yeah, some should do it, some shouldn't, yeah.
There's so many questions that I have, but we have to move on. But the final question that I want to ask you, because when I was a kid and you were taught how to throw-ins, there were a lot of different techniques and adults telling you how to do it. If you're going to throw a throw-in towards a player, where should you aim? Like some people say that if you aim in this more sensitive area, it's difficult to take it down, and you could throw it on the chest, and you could throw it down towards your feet. What's the optimal throw-in?
The very best is to throw it directly into the sensitive area of the opponents. Then you'll take him out. No, no, okay. Of course, it depends on where you throw. So often, let's say you do a return pass with a good distance because you choose to do that, playing out in small passes. You want to go out after the foot, or at least after a playable way with the foot. So a little bit over the ground is also acceptable. If you want to have a run forward, for example, behind the defense, you want to throw the ball maybe 3, 4, 5 meters in front of that player, depending on the speed. If you want, so you know, the place of the ball where the throw should throw is depending what type of space you're trying to throw into. If you want to take a long throw in, you want to have it really far, but also quite flat, so you can flick it on with speed. It's even more dangerous. So if you're throw-in taker, especially the wing backs or the full backs, they have to be able to recognize different spaces and then know what type of throw-in position you should take, because that will be different from time to time. But yes, again, back to your question, if you throw it directly into the, let's say, sensitive area or into the chest, it's often really hard to manage. So you have to master different kinds of precision, and that's also what I do in training too. But you can only do it if you do it in training. You know, I hear so many coaches saying, "Wow, our throw-ins are bad. The players are really horrible with the throw-ins. I can't understand why we're so bad." Then I say to them, "Have you trained it?" And then they say, "No, we're not really doing throw-ins." Okay, how can you expect that you're good at something you don't train? Hey, and I don't blame the coaches, because it's because of lack of knowledge. They don't know how to train it. So they're just saying to the players, "Hey, come on, you have to throw to him." Or sometimes also, instead of, if a team can't do space creation, the coaches are just saying, "Hey, come on, move." But hey, I also see teams where the players are just moving, you know, but they are not scanning. They don't have any awareness around their teammates. They don't have any awareness around what I call the opponent's defending patterns. How are the opponents standing? Because it means a lot according to how you can create space. So again, there's just a big lack of knowledge of throw-ins in football. So and that's my job to change that. And actually, I hope someday to come to Sweden to coach a club. I've never coached in Sweden. That's like quite weird.
You should.
I'm just on the other side of the water here in Denmark. I've been coaching in, like, I don't know, 30 countries or so, you know, but never Sweden. That's weird.
If you're interested in under 19, we have a really big talent coach here in Fabian. So you can keep in touch after the show.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes I'm coaching kids too. In Hull, when I was there last season, I coach U9 and U10. Of course, often the pro teams. I can coach U19. I can coach everything. So just send me a message. Maybe we can.
I will call you.
Yeah, perfect.
I promise.
I still have so many questions, but we don't have the time this morning right now, Thomas. But thank you so much for being a part of our show, and hopefully we can talk to you again sometime.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Thank you. Yeah, you too. Bye.
Right. Det var
Intressant ämne.
väldigt intressant.
Ja, det är intressant.